It's good to see the good guys winning one. They took down a big DDoS service.
Hey Joe, what can you tell me about the Webstresser developments?
Yeah, so there was a big takedown operation. The Dutch police, in conjunction with the UK National Crime Agency and Europol, did a takedown of the Webstresser.org DDoS-for-Hire.
And this is kind of a pay-as-you-go type of DDoS service. So you can just go there, pay £10 or something, and get an hour's worth of DDoS against a target.
Pretty much, you don't need a lot of...
It's not a lot of money.
Well, but yeah, it's not a lot of money, and you don't need to know a whole lot. You can, if we're playing video games, or you have a test coming, that kind of thing, where you don't have to be a hacker to just sort of recruit this DDoS service. So, all the comments from the crime agencies seem to say they really rooted this out. Dutch police and the UK's National Crime Agency, they actually did a takedown. So they took down Webstresser.org. They took down a lot of resellers. Based on some of the research from Brian Krebs, they know exactly, there were 6 administrators of Webstresser, the individuals, and it looks like the work that was done by this Project Power Off, they called it, the takedown effort, so far it's been successful. So, pretty interesting. I don't think we always get to this sort of, how law enforcement is counteracting some of these problems.
To me, when I've looked at these, we have to deal with botnets a lot too. So sometimes you want to reach out to these internet service providers and say, hey, you're facilitating a botnet operation here at these domains or at these IPs that are in your space. Could you please investigate and take care of it potentially? That doesn't do anything to really get to the root of the problem, which is the person or the botnet operator behind it. And typically when I see these law enforcement things, I'm appreciative that they go through this, but usually it takes a much longer time because they have to go through all this process of finding the human elements behind what's actually going on.
I sat through an interesting kind of go through about how they have to do that and how they have to tie Twitter handles and other types of anonymized types of communications, which will change over time. So like a botnet operator might be using, a certain handle for this period of time and then another handle for another period of time. And then they have to connect those two together. And sometimes these are just, sequences of numbers as opposed to anything that ties back to a profile with photos or anything like that. So it's very, very challenging.
Yeah, definitely. It's not the first, of course, either. I was thinking about the VDOS botnet that also was taken down a few years back. Yeah. So there's definitely law enforcement's doing a lot of these botnet takedown operations, especially when they get to a critical mass size that they're really causing, significant disruptions to the rest of the people trying to use the internet.
Right.
So it's definitely a good thing, and it's just kind of sad that we have to get to this point in society that, that happens.
What's also interesting is that in the 2018 data breach report that was released here this past month, almost half of the breaches that were included in their data set were attributed to organized crime, which is interesting because it kind of raises the question, is organized crime becoming highly technical, or are they leveraging as a service providers such as Webstresser to facilitate criminal activity, right? What's their path of least resistance, to monetize that activity? And so really it kind of does speak to, that continued rise of that, crimeware as a service because it is profitable.
Yeah, and as long as there's money to be made, they're going to be out there. Kudos to the law enforcement agencies that have been working these efforts, and hopefully we'll see more of this in the future.
Actually, there's an education campaign in Europe that they're releasing saying, hack for good. If you're going to do these things, there is a chance you're going to get caught. And when you get caught, it's not going to go well for you. Whereas if you have these skills and you're hacking for the right reasons, research, or working for a corporation or working to mitigate threats, that's probably going to end up a lot better for you.